Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. We are back with the Hildreth Motorsports Network, and it is the 2026 Formula One Grand Prix in Australia that has brought us back together again as we embark on a new season of F1. And don't let the first stint fool you. This wasn't good racing. This was all completely and totally manufactured. And it wasn't, it was bad. A lot of people are falling for it. A lot of people are believing that this was good racing. This was genuine racing. But I knew it as soon as I saw it happening. That the moment these cars separated, it was going to be a snooze fest, and that is exactly what we saw. It was a snooze fest once we got past the first stage. As soon as George and Kimi pulled off into the pits, the race was over. And I had that feeling as soon as they did it, especially when Ferrari refused to come down, at least bring Lewis down to cover him off. And quite frankly, there's nothing that could have been done to stop the Mercedes. And this isn't a shot at George Russell. This isn't a shot at Mercedes. There's going to be shots lobbied at Ferrari in a bit. But this was not the genuine racing that we come to expect out of Formula One. As much as people want to say that, oh, this was great it was good racing, it was this, it was that. The reality is, it was manufactured, and a lot of people, and a lot of smart people, completely and totally fell for it. And it's sad because it's people that should really know better. If it wasn't for these regulations, we would have a much more genuine racing experience. And, I mean, if this was on actual TV, then I would be kind of okay with it. Because you're trying to attract that broader audience. But F1 made the move. They took the bag and they went behind a paywall to Apple TV, completely cutting off any shot of getting that fair weather fan, of getting that casual fan. You now have the die-hard F1 fans, and that is all you're going to be getting because of the Apple TV deal. Apple TV they don't have the same pull power that Netflix has, that Peacock has, or a lot of the other streaming services. Apple TV, most people don't even realize they have access to it, and not a lot of people are going to be paying for it. So you pretty much have your core audience, and that is the max you're going to have. And this, what we saw today, completely and totally alienated them. They are not going to be happy with this. As we see a little bit of a split. As we go through the comments here. Well, Ferrari, once again, masters of snatching defeat in the jaws of it. Victory. Yeah, yada, yada, yada. Add a 0 to the end to the end. Even more than that, but I understand that what they're trying to do. They're drawing attention to us. Just wait for Melbourne and see how fast they are on the straights. Yeah. But yeah, everybody's tearing Ferrari apart, and rightfully so. Rightfully so. This isn't going to be the greatest example as of right now, but I'm obviously voting no. Only 57 votes and 70% have said no. And again, the first part of this race, it was good, but it didn't take a genius to know that this was completely and totally manufactured. And as soon as as soon as we had that first pit stop, it was going to turn into a snooze fest. A lot of the hardcore fans knew that was going to be coming as soon as we started to really see what was going on. And that's exactly what happened. No matter what happened after that, especially when Ferrari stayed out and had that pit blunder, that strategy blunder, it just solidified everything that we were, quite frankly, afraid of. And this is, I think this is going to be an utter disaster for the season, especially with the kind of gaps that we're seeing. I mean, we had 6 cars finish on the lead lap. 6. We had 6 cars DNF. 2 of them didn't even start. This is a disaster. And quite frankly, it's only going to get worse. China is not going to be better for Australia, for the Aston Martins. They're going to be struggling, and they're going to break the record for DNFs in a season. Like, they're not finishing a race anytime soon. You had that rear lockup from Max in qualifying that kind of helped the excitement, and he was able to come back, finish 6th, win driver of the day. He had a tremendous run. You had the great run from the rookie, Lindblad. He was very good. Isaac Hadjar, he had a great qualifying, but his engine gave out. You had, and then you had Kimi Antonelli. He had a slow start, but was able to quickly get back up there. And you also had, Liam Lawson. He stalled out at the start, and he ended up finishing. Finishing outside the points, despite starting, I think, 9th, maybe even a little higher. Oh, where did he start? Started 8th, but he had a nice little run back up through the field after his car stalled on the start, and that is a huge issue. That luckily everybody was able to avoid him, but I mean, what happens when you have somebody higher up in the front and you have a car that doesn't move till the very last second, and the car behind him doesn't react in time? And if I remember correctly, that's how somebody freaking died in F1. Their car stalled out on the start. A car moved at the last second. The car behind them didn't have time to react, and it killed the driver. Not figuratively, literally killed the driver. And if we have cars that are stalling on the start, that is a massive, massive safety risk, and one that isn't worth taking. We'll see what happens in China. We have a sprint race, and then we have the main race. I believe we have a sprint race in China. Double checking the schedule here. As you can all see, yes, we do have a sprint race. And if we're seeing multiple cars stalling out on the start, we've got to do something else before something horrific happens. So, kind of run through the field a little bit. So we try to get back up to the top here. So you had Lewis Hamilton. He came home fourth. Lando fighting off Max Verstappen, who was charging with fresher hard tires. Ollie Behrman finished seventh, 1 lap down. Lindblad eighth, 1 lap down. Gabriel Bortoleto, he gets points for Audi and their debut back. And then Alpine with Pierre Gasly gets the final point. So, a lot of issues with this car. And I get it's the first race. These are the biggest changes F1's ever had going from one season to the next. But there's a lot of safety concerns to go with this. And yeah. And then obviously Max Verstappen had that huge run, huge drive going from 20th to 6th. I think they had a little bit of a strategy mishap. I think he pitted way too early from the hards to the mediums. I would have probably had him go another 10 laps. But I think he pitted under the safety car, so it's kind of damned if you do and damned if you don't. But I think if you would have held out another 10 laps, you could have conceivably made it to the end on one stop. And maybe would have been able to hold off charging Lando towards the end. But I don't know. A lot of things could have gone differently. But yeah. So congrats to George Russell. He is the winner in Australia. He is the points leader. We'll see how the rest of the season shakes out. There's a lot of people that are completely falling for what we saw in the first stint of the race. Don't be fooled by it. That is not genuine racing. That is manufactured racing and incredibly gimmicky. That was my big issue with NASCAR, and I'm beginning to grow that same issue with F1. It is becoming very, very gimmicky. So, hopefully the engines become more reliable. Because I would really like to see what could have been with Isaac Hadjar today. But like I said, we'll get 2 opportunities to see what all happens next weekend in China. I will attempt to do a post-sprint reaction to that. But I will definitely do a post-race reaction for China. I'm going to be very tired, but I will do it. So, I think that is all that I have for you here. Let's run through the race results one more time. George Russell, tremendous drive, perfect drive. Antonelli stalled, was able to get back up quickly, ran fine after that. Leclerc and Hamilton had the horrific pit strategy, not on them, completely on Ferrari. Ferrari is going to Ferrari. They are the Dallas Cowboys of F1. Lando Norris comes home 5th, fighting off a hard-charging Max Verstappen on the fresher tires. And then Max drove from 20th to 6th in what was a great drive. Oliver Behrman, he comes home 1 lap down. Lindblad, the rookie, gets points in his debut. Again, 1 lap down. Bortoleto gets points for Audi and their return to F1. And then Pierre Gasly gets the last bit of points for Alpine. Then you have Ocon, Albon, Lawson, Colapinto, Sainz, and then Checo, And then you have the DNFs of Checo, Stroll, Alonso, Bottas, and Hadjar. And then you have the guys that didn't even start, Oscar Piastri, because of the wreck on the recon lap, which is mind-boggling. And then Nico Hülkenberg. He did not start either. So I am very uncomfortable with how this race went. I don't have high hopes for this season as far as true excitement. And like I said, I think we're going to see a lot of... It's going to be a pretty much second verse, same as the first, as we go throughout the season. The first stint, it's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. And then after that, it is going to be a complete and utter snooze fest. That is what I think is going to end up happening. So, all right, that's all I got for you here. Thank you for watching. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any racing. We'll see you all in the next one.